All right, what is up, you guys? We are back with another joint review. And, I was thinking, what Survivor Series pay-per-view am I going to need to bring someone on? We got to go with 1997, the most famous Survivor Series. And we all know why. So, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, everyone? This is Relaxing Ghost.
And if you haven't already, go check out his channel. Great DVD channel, good wrestling channel. And, hopefully we're going to be doing a big group video next week. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So, I always felt like this show was really only known for one thing, and that's the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah.
Nobody ever talks about the show itself. And, we had 4 traditional elimination matches, 4-on-4. What are your thoughts on the traditional Survivor Series matches, first of all?
I actually really like them. It's something different to switch it up, and you always get these unlikely partners. And it's cliche to say, but I think it's fun, to see different guys paired together or whatnot. And there's so many different combinations throughout the years. I've always enjoyed Survivor Series for what it is. It's a cool concept, I think.
Yeah, it's my favorite pay-per-view of the year, mainly for these traditional matches. I think 4 is a little excessive for 1997.
4 matches.
Yeah, 4 of the Survivor Series elimination matches. And, we started out with the Godwins, which was Henry Godwin, Phineas, and the New Age Outlaws, defeating the Headbangers and the New Blackjacks. Gotta love the Headbangers.
These tag team were like horrible at this time. This was not a good tag division.
Yeah, it would really pick up in 98, 99.
Yeah.
Then we had the Truth Commission versus the Disciples of Apocalypse.
Huh.
So, yeah, this is just 10 minutes of
more filler.
Yeah, filler. I mean, a lot of this pay-per-view kind of felt like filler. We did have a really good singles match with Kane and Mankind. We had another good singles match with Stone Cold and Owen Hart.
Yeah, a lot of people always forget about that one there with Austin and Owen.
Yeah, and it's only 4 minutes, but if you put these two in the ring, they're always going to create magic of some type.
Yeah. I think the Kane and Mankind match was actually pretty cool. This was Kane's first pay-per-view right after the debut at Hell in a Cell. So seeing Kane in his, first match here was pretty awesome.
And, I love early Kane.
Yeah.
I always loved early Kane. And I think he has possibly one of the greatest debuts of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, hands down. Probably my favorite, to be honest.
Yeah, he's one of my...
just ripping the cell. Ripping the cell open, going in there. I just always loved early Kane. And we had another traditional Survivor Series match. Ken Shamrock and Ahmed Johnson and the Legion of Doom.
Wow.
Not the biggest fan of Attitude Era or, late 90s Legion of Doom personally.
I couldn't get into them. I think they were like 10 years past their prime at this point. I could never get into them. The LOD 2000, it wasn't for me. I said that in one of my other reviews. I did a couple of days ago. I don't know if it aired yet or not, but I just never really was into that team. They were great, a decade prior to that, but in the Attitude Era, I don't think they really fit.
No. To me, they were great legends. and it just wasn't their environment. And that's
Yeah.
not their fault.
No.
It was a changing business. 1997 was a huge year for WWF. And in terms of like an evolution, like that was the year things were changing.
Yeah.
And they defeated the Nation of Domination, who's always been great.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite factions is the Nation. I think they're really overlooked at times.
Yeah. You have D'Lo Brown, who I always thought was very underrated as a talent.
Yeah.
You have Kama Mustafa, who's also underrated.
Godfather.
Yep. You have Farouk, and then, of course, Rocky Maivia, who, I always thought even Farouk, Ron Simmons was always kind of overlooked a little bit.
Yeah.
And, of course, you have Kama, who's played multiple different characters and gimmicks and played them well.
Yeah, what Papa Shango, that's who it was, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. Like how great was that character in what, 92? Yep. 91, 92?
Except for him botching the ending of WrestleMania 8.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably hates that. But he goes from like one extreme to the next, and it both works so well.
Even in Right to Censor,
Yeah, the good father.
Yeah. Oh man! But the main event, of course, we had Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in probably the most historic match in WWF history, I would say.
Yeah, without a doubt.
This was for the WWF Championship, and it only went 12 minutes and 19 seconds. One of their shorter matches.
Yeah, that actually really surprised me to find that out later.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, what's your reaction to what happened that night? Like, how do you feel about it personally?
Oh, it's crazy to think about it because you want to think it's real, and then you're thinking it's, are they working you? Are they not? It's one of those weird things, where it could probably work either way. But I don't know. I think Vince was panicking, and Bret, did the honest thing. He said, look, I'll do this match, but after that, I want to, give up the title. Vince probably didn't really believe him, and then he's like, okay, we gotta do this.
Yeah, I mean, this is at a time when it was hard to trust your talent.
Yeah. WCW's blowing up here. They're giving out multi-million-dollar contracts, guaranteed cash.
Yeah. And, Macho Man left pretty abruptly. Hogan, who was at the time, that's like Cena leaving for TNA. Like, that's kind of what that's comparable to.
And right after Hall and Nash, too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just so much. You had, the trash can incident. I mean, that's one thing you have to look at. What if, in Vince's mind, Bret Hart goes to the company, throws the belt in like a dumpster,
yeah,
and says, "Fuck you." You don't want that, So you want to get the title off of him. And there's two ways looking at it, from Bret's point of view and Vince's point of view.
Yeah.
I personally never agreed with Bret. Him saying, "Oh, he doesn't want to lose the title in Canada." That's like me not wanting to lose the title in America.
Yeah, it's I don't think Bret was playing too fair here. He knew he was leaving, so he knew he had to give it up, right?
Yeah, and he even said, "Oh, he'll drop it anywhere else, just not in Canada." That night in Survivor Series, and he wanted the match to go to a DQ, and that was the agreed upon stipulation
Yeah.
until the sharpshooter happened. One good thing that really did come out of this is Wrestling with Shadows. That is my all-time favorite wrestling documentary.
Oh, really?
Oh, for sure. I think it's one of the best. That and Beyond the Mat are two of the best.
And that's another thing that kind of makes you think, are they working you too, right? Because they had this whole film company here. They're shooting everything. They're going behind closed doors, talking about everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting timing.
Yeah.
One of the questions I was going to ask you at the end of this is, do you think the screw job was a work, or do you think it was a shoot?
Yeah, I honestly could go back and forth, but I think this was shoot.
Okay.
This was real.
If I was betting on it, I would say it was real. But at the
Yeah.
same time, there are some inconsistencies. There are things that make you think.
Because you had the birth of Mr. McMahon. Shawn Michaels becomes the champion, of course, and then Bret leaves as a top babyface, which WCW didn't do anything with that.
Oh, yeah, that was a disaster, but
It's like everything kind of all lined up is so weird, right?
yeah, I mean, it really jump-started what we now know as the Attitude Era too. I mean, without the Montreal Screwjob, the Mr. McMahon character wouldn't be where it was. Because he still could have created this authority figure, but it wouldn't have this heat of screwing Bret.
Yeah.
Like, that was astronomical heat. Because Bret was
That
loved.
Yeah.
He's one of my all-time favorites.
What do you think of the actual match?
I mean, it's a good match. It really is. That's what a lot of people forget. Like, this show is decent. It's not a bad pay-per-view. It has this stigma of being, this cancer to wrestling, where I actually think this was a positive night. And I think this is one of their better matches. Obviously it's not as technical and storytelling as WrestleMania 12 or, even some of their matches years before, like their ladder match.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a better match. But this, for 12 minutes and the ending it had, I'd say it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and they go about a good, 15, 20 minutes before the match actually starts, too.
Yeah. Yep.
Through the crowd and up the arena and all that stuff.
Yep.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great story. It's a great angle. It's legendary at this point. It's become, like this, it's almost like this fairy tale that people just like keep talking about. They keep reciting it. They keep talking about their experiences there. I would love to talk to people who were actually there.
Yeah.
What their thoughts were, because they were probably confused as all hell.
Yeah, have you heard about like Undertaker was sitting next to Bruce Pritchard as this all happened, and none of them were clued in as to what happened. And Taker was getting ready to pummel out Pritchard because he didn't tell him.
Yeah, he thought he was in on it. Yep.
Yeah.
And, you have conflicting reports, as you always do, with Jim Cornette and Vince Russo on whose idea it actually was.
Right.
I believe Jim Cornette's story a little more, but because I think Jim Cornette's story was basically, well, why don't you just take the title off of him in the ring,
Right.
But
you don't want to drop the title? We'll take it from him.
Yeah, it was kind of like a passing thought, and then it kind of came to fruition.
Yeah.
And I always felt bad for Earl Hebner.
Yeah, he's like in the middle of all this.
It's either you listen to your close, loyal friend or you listen to your boss.
Yeah.
So that one was always tough for me.
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels too, right? Like,
yeah, I think he was in on it for sure.
yeah,
I don't think he was clueless about it. I don't know about like Triple H and the whole clique, but I don't know. There's a lot of mystery still surrounding this event.
yeah.
That's the thing.
Something that still is kind of fishy, you know. Like, I don't think we'll ever know like exactly.
Well, you can't because there's so many people involved. You don't know who to listen to.
Yeah, and like Vince is never gonna come out and say anything.
And say what you want about Meltzer, he always said it was completely a shoot.
Yeah,
So I mean, for people that respect Meltzer and listen to him, that might mean a lot to them. Because
yeah,
if anyone's gonna say it's a work, it's gonna be him. So
yeah. And he had like really strong ties with the WWF back then.
and Bret, he was friends with Bret Hart.
Yeah,
So
I
I would
respect
say,
Meltzer.
yeah. I mean, I would say this was a work or a shoot, but you never know.
Yeah, if you told me it was a work, I'd believe you.
Yeah. Yep. But overall letter grade. It's hard to grade this pay per view. It's I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, for the matches I have seen, which isn't many on this show, it's gonna be, very good high points. Um, just for the whole mystique and the all that crazy stuff about the show, like the ending and the screw job and all that, how memorable it became and how legendary it is. I think I'd give this show probably a solid B.
I
I mean,
was yeah.
it's hard to grade something not really seeing much of it.
I was gonna give it a B. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
because I just rewatched this and I actually hadn't seen the full pay per view until preparation for this video.
right.
Because it's one of those pay per views you just kind of forget. It's like I've never seen Over the Edge '99. I've never seen it. So
Right.
because you have that, the whole Owen Hart death, you just kind of forget that it was a pay per view. You know,
Yeah.
it's just known for one thing. So I think it's definitely worth checking out, even
Yeah.
if you're taking the main event out of it. You have some filler, but there's some decent stuff in there. I always like Stone Cold and Owen Hart when they're in the ring together, no matter what it is.
Two of my favorites there, and then Kane and Mankind, another couple of my favorites.
Yeah, Kane was coming off red hot here.
Yeah.
So, but definitely give us your thoughts down below. Was this a work or a shoot? That's the big question I want to
Yeah.
know from you guys. But if you want to go ahead and plug your channel one more time, go ahead.
It's youtube.com, Relaxing Ghost. Check it out. A lot of reviews and DVD videos. Come on by, say hello.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. For now, this has been the DVD Freak. Peace out.
Peace.